Now, with Jericho Sims, as you guys know, he's fallen out of the rotation with Tom Thibodeau. I mean, situational is basically what you can call him at this point. Because if Josh Hart's not playing, that's really the only time he's going to see minutes. Or if somebody else is in foul trouble, like Karl Anthony Towns or Precious Achiuwa. Apart from that, he's really not going to play any legitimate minutes. And then, recently, as we reported on this channel, reports have come out that the Knicks are being contacted by other teams about the availability, the trade availability of Jericho Sims. But we didn't know who those teams were until now. Shout out to Ian Begley, NBA Insider, because as he reported, the Houston Rockets are one of the teams interested in making a trade for Jericho Sims. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button now. And also have notifications turned on. So anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Houston Rockets are interested in a Jericho Sims trade. Now, anybody being interested in Jericho Sims for me is a little bit shocking to say the least. Because even though he has played well when he was given minutes with the New York Knicks, he's also done a couple of things that have made you raise your eyebrow a little bit and really question his basketball IQ. But I guess if you're looking at the rebounds and the defense, he has looked good when he was out there for the Knicks. But also, Tom Thibodeau hasn't played him since Precious Achiuwa has come along. Because Achiuwa, let's face it, off the bench, whether he's backing up Karl Anthony Towns or backing up OG Anunoby, he has a presence, not only offensively, but defensively. And Tom Thibodeau, time and time again, we've seen it. He goes to the double big lineup with Precious Achiuwa and Karl Anthony Towns. So will there even be a place for Jericho Sims once Robinson returns? Because even as of right now, there's not a place for him. Tom Thibodeau is implementing an 8-man rotation. With Landry Shamet, he's likely going to get significant minutes as well, too. So he's going to be your 9th man off the bench. Really no time for Jericho Sims. That's why when the reports come out indicating that teams are contacting the Knicks about Jericho Sims and his trade availability, I absolutely believe it. But to hear it's the Houston Rockets, that was a little bit shocking. Let's go ahead and break down these latest reports we have from Ian Begley regarding the Rockets and their interest in Jericho Sims. And also, what is the asking price that the Knicks are looking for in any potential Jericho Sims trade right now? Well, thanks to Ian Begley, he clears up those reports for us as well, too. SNY reporter Ian Begley on the Knicks trade plans for Jericho Sims as the trade deadline approaches. Regarding moving on from Jericho Sims, I think when you look at the Knicks and their trade position, overall, you got to wonder about Mitchell Robinson and his health, how he plays into it, whether they feel good about him coming back, and whether or not or so they're sure about him, and if he's going to be healthy, how long he's going to be healthy for, and how long he's going to be playing consistently. I think that might affect their plans on Jericho Sims. I do know that in the offseason, the Knicks were talking to teams about getting second-round picks in return for Sims. Obviously, nothing came to fruition in the offseason. I do know that members of the Houston Rockets are fans of Jericho Sims. So maybe that's a team to keep an eye on. But as far as a potential trade for Sims, I think you have to keep an eye on Mitchell Robinson's potential availability and his health. If they did make a move with Sims, I would assume, unless it's part of a multiplayer package type of deal, that you are only going to get draft pick compensation in return for Sims rather than a player. Now, that for me is very, very important to note. Now, I'm not saying that I was expecting to get a player and 2 first-round picks for Jericho Sims. We got to remember, he's a second-round draft pick. And even though he's come a long way since then, and he's played pretty well, he's developed. This is the first year he's not really dealing with any injuries. So really, this is the time that you can see him shine and showcase what he can do with the Knicks. And when he's out there, I'm going to give him a little bit of credit now. Can he defend pretty well? Yes, he can. He's actually gotten better, especially with his switching. Rebounding can definitely do that well, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So when you look at all of that and you're another team, maybe you think, okay, he's not making a lot. He's an expiring deal. So even if I don't like him for the rest of the season, I can just let him go. Or maybe if I do like him and I can quote unquote fix him, because so many teams in the league nowadays think they can find any other player in the league that's not being utilized properly think they can take him on and they can magically get something out of him that the Knicks or another team are not going to be able to get out of him. So maybe that's the allure of Jericho Sims right now. If that's the case, I have no problem with that. But here's the issue. Second round draft pick compensation, that's what we're looking for. Now, in the offseason, maybe we're doing that so we can get more draft picks to utilize in another trade we were trying to make. And maybe nothing came of that point in time. Right now, looking at this Knicks team, we don't need any more second round picks. Is it just me? Do we not have enough second round picks? And I understand maybe moving forward, they're going to be more valuable. Teams might want them in certain deals, certain trades, depending on where they fall and what teams we're giving those second round picks from. I can understand that, but they're not first round picks. And in any major trade the Knicks are looking to make, if you're trying to get a player back, you're likely going to have to include Jericho Sims and a first round pick. Or if you're not going to include a first round pick, you're going to have to include Sims and a player of impact, a player that likely the Knicks are not going to want to have to give up or like to give up, but they might have to if they're looking to move off of Jericho Sims and get another impactful player. When you're thinking about the Houston Rockets, I mean, who do the Rockets have that the Knicks would have a chance of getting with the package of Jericho Sims and second round picks? You think anybody would give up that package for Cam Whitmore? Shout out to my guy, Jay from East New York. Anytime Knicks on the app X, he's always talking about Cam Whitmore. I hope you're watching the stream, by the way. Always talking about Cam Whitmore, so he's always been a fan of him. But I don't know if you could really get that with Jericho Sims and a couple of second-round picks because, again, you're going to have to sell Jericho Sims and whatever package you have for a player that they likely want and see as part of their future, at least at some point. And they're not dumb either. They're going to understand. If they want to flip a player like him, they can probably get a better package around the league from another team. And that's the biggest issue against New York right now. Other teams going after players that they like, that they covet. It's no secret, New York doesn't have any type of trade assets, really, when it looks like it. The trade assets that the Knicks have right now can be beaten, really, by any other team in the league. Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, that heavily protected Washington Wizards first-round pick, and then we have our second-round picks. Other than that, the Knicks don't really have anything else to really give up that they want to give up in any potential deal. It really depends on the player that's available, who they're getting back, and their impact on this team moving forward and also for this season, because that's also important. We're getting the chemistry right. So I don't really think that right now the Knicks are going to be looking to make a move, ruin that chemistry, and have to build it all up again. I don't know if the Knicks would really want to pull the trigger right now on a trade when we look this good, only going to get better once we get healthier, get Mitchell Robinson back, and see what that squad looks like. We can still look at the buyout market if we want to make another move, make a smaller move. And honestly, if the Knicks are not going to get a player of impact back, but we're going to get a couple of second-round picks, I would rather hold on to Jericho Sims and use him as insurance in case an injury happens or somebody else goes down. Because I would rather have that than a couple of second-round picks to add to all of the other second-round picks that I have. We have so many second-round picks. Do we really want to take more second-round picks on and add them to the collection? Or are we just going to hoard more second-round picks and hope that some team one day will accept all of them for, I don't know, an all-star player? Because that's not going to happen. We have to think realistic here. I can understand what the Knicks are trying to do, getting more compensation to utilize if they're going to make a trade somewhere down the line. But second-round picks are not the way to go, in my opinion. And I do not think trading with the Houston Rockets right now, especially if you're not going to get a player back, really makes much sense. But you let me know in the chat. Would you make a trade for Jericho Sims? Would you want the Knicks to trade Jericho Sims for the Houston Rockets for maybe a couple of second-round picks? Because maybe you think you just want him off the team so that way the Knicks open up more room on the roster to call up somebody from Westchester or make another signing from the buyout market. Maybe that's what you're thinking. Let me know your thoughts because, again, I'm not against any of these particular moves the Knicks would make. I'm just saying if second-round picks are what you're getting back for Sims, it really doesn't make sense for me for the Knicks to pull the trigger on that trade. And maybe that's why they haven't pulled the trigger on a trade. Maybe they were looking for it in the offseason, but there hasn't been any reports that they're currently looking for that type of compensation in order to trade Jericho Sims for the Houston Rockets or really to any team. Maybe the value has changed because of the way Jericho Sims has played as of late. We really have to wait and see what Leon Rose and his team cooks up as we move closer to the trade deadline. By the way, that is on February 6th. If you enjoyed these clips from the live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new episodes or when we go live. Thanks for watching, Knicks fans, and until next time, peace.